Wednesday, October 27, 2020, 4 p.m. Oh, Lord, he missed us all.
Excitement.
Mhm. I had doctor's appointment yesterday afternoon and this morning. I thought I said that. And so I was about to email before I leave. And we got to get back tomorrow. For the Zoom.
I think that everyone's, you should have find out. I think we're looking for.
Right. Right.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, it's there. He's out in the hallway. I'll get him, Judge.
Well, I don't know if he wants him in the courtroom.
This is right outside. Yeah.
You know, people in person, everybody else is on Zoom.
I think Sarah Wagner is coming over too, so.
Again, most, oh, you can see it then and there.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. How are y'all doing?
Good. I tell you, before we go on the record, it's which, it's Miss Morgan. Is there one of these cases you want to start with? We have Mr. Scott's here in the courtroom, and I think Sarah Wagner's coming over too, so.
Okay, I guess I'll see who all is present on. I'm trying to pull up all the attorneys for each one. Whoever is ready, we can do that one. If we have everyone present. Let me 1 moment to see who's who.
See, Miss Allen, so you're here on Scott, right? Whoop, and you're still muted, Miss Allen. Yeah, Miss Allen, you're still muted. Go down to the lower left. There you go.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm here, and so is my client,
okay.
Miss Aguilar.
And then do we have Mr. I believe you said Mr.
There we are.
Good afternoon. And then Mr. Smith and CASA. If they're present, then we can
Yeah.
proceed with Scott. Oh, let me make sure my caseworker is on. That's important.
Yes, she's there and the supervisor is here as well, Miss Little and Miss Williams.
Okay.
And
Thank
then-
you.
And Miss Wagner, which case are you on? Okay, and so Miss Wagner is here. Okay, so do we want to do,
We can
want to do
we can
Scott?
proceed. Yes, we can proceed with.
Okay, so before we get started, let me just make sure I have everybody. All right, so Miss Morgan's with the department. Miss Allen is with Miss Aguilar. Mr. Smith is with Mr. Scott. Miss Wagner's here for the children. And I guess if either Mr. Smith or Miss Wagner want to say anything, you can come up here and you can be on screen. And so who else is here on the Scott case?
Tracy Howell with CASA, but I don't see Mr. Smith.
Well, he's physically here in the courtroom,
Oh, okay.
and so is Miss Wagner. Okay, so anybody else then between Morgan, Allen, Smith, and Howell, anybody else on the Scott case?
Judge, myself and caseworker Deborah Lee are just observing since this will be transferred to our unit.
Okay, and So Miss Morgan, who you can have testify?
I'm going to have the caseworker, Mokitha Williams.
Anybody else?
I don't believe so.
Okay, then Miss Allen, where you can have anybody testify?
Yes, I'm going to have Miss Aguilar testify.
All right, and see Mr. Smith. And I'll right now I'll relay what he says, but
No.
okay, so Mr. Smith is not going to have his client testify. And Miss Wagner? Okay, so it sounds like there's two witnesses then, Miss Williams and Miss Aguilar. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
And so Mr.
I'd also like to have CASA testify if they have made any kind of a home study.
Okay, and so Miss Wagner, do you anticipate cross-examining anybody?
Very briefly.
Okay.
If needed.
I'll probably just have you come up here when you do it.
Would it be helpful if I went to the law library and jumped on my laptop? I don't know if that would be more beneficial to the situation.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work in the courtroom. There's too much feedback, but if you want to try going to the law library.
If you wouldn't mind bearing with me for a
Yeah,
second.
and you got the email?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right, so we'll just wait a minute for Miss Wagner.
Okay.
Well, I tell you, while she's getting set up, how about on the other case on the Ash Darby? So, Miss Morgan, who would you have testify in Ash Darby's case?
I'm going to have my caseworker, Shalonda Jackson, testify. I can't see if he's on or not. I can't, I'm sorry. Had to call in from my phone due to technical issues with my laptop, so I can't see all the participants at once. I'm not sure if she's on, but she should be.
She's not on right now. She's having technical difficulties. I'm driving to the office to get her on.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I spoke to her. She's having technical difficulties.
So I'm heading over there now. I'm like 3 minutes from the office.
Okay. I wonder if she's having the same Outlook issues that I'm having.
Okay, well then I guess we'll just wait a minute until Miss Wagner. Let me ask Miss Baker, do you anticipate calling any witnesses?
No, I know I spoke with Miss Hobbs, and she was going to her sister's house to join the Zoom. Is she on?
I don't see her.
Okay, then no.
I think that Gary on
calling
here
you.
may be the placement for Darby. I think that Gary down at the
Yeah,
bottom.
I think he's the temporary placement.
He's the temporary placement.
And she has a family member she asked the department to look at. So her sister, maybe. I don't know who that is. I didn't ask.
You just need to admit
Admit who?
Shalonda Jackson, that's one of the ones that said to get on.
Shalonda Jackson's the caseworker for the Darby case.
Phone number for the caseworker, it had too many digits in it, and when I kind of removed one, I think it's an 832 number.
Which case are you talking about, Miss Allen? You're on both of them.
Yeah, Darby.
Darby?
I can't get a hold of who he's placed with. That's a wrong number.
It's the number that was on the LIPS form that I had.
Well, it's not working now. It works at somebody else's phone.
Mr. Gary is on the phone, who is the current placement for the child for the Darby case.
Could I have his phone number, please? Is that muted again? May I have his phone number?
Miss Allen, how about we text that? That way it's not going out over YouTube.
Okay, that'll be fine. And also the caseworker's phone number.
And if you look
That
at the
was on the
notes,
email I
the
sent.
chats at the bottom.
Yeah, but Miss Jan, the caseworker's cell phone number is on each email I sent you, giving you the contact information.
Okay, it had too many digits in it.
All right, so do we have everybody on the Smith that we need? I think we do. So we'll go ahead and get started. So this is cause number 2020L7715 in the interest of Aiden Scott, Marie Scott, and Faith Scott. Let me let me just say a name and you can announce yourself, Miss Morgan.
Lee Morgan, I am present for the department along with CPS investigator Mokitha Williams.
Miss Allen.
I'm an attorney for Miss Stephanie Aguilar.
Okay,
and she is with me.
And Dyer Smith is here in the courtroom with his client, Mr. Scott. Miss Wagner. Nope. And Miss Wagner, you're still muted. Miss Wagner, you're still muted.
Oh, I apologize, Your Honor. Sarah Wagner, present for the children.
Okay, and Miss Howell.
Tracy Howell, CASA.
And Miss Williams.
CPS investigator for the case.
Okay. All right. So if I can get Miss Aguilar, Miss Howell, and Miss Williams to raise your right hands. 1, 2, 3. You and each of you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
All right. So Miss Morgan, who's your first witness?
I'm going to call Mokitha Williams, caseworker.
You may proceed.
Okay. Miss Williams, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you the caseworker for the children Aiden Scott, Maurice Scott, and Faith Marie Scott?
Yes.
How is it that you came to be involved with these 3 children?
The department received an intake on October the 13th around 5 p.m. Alleging that there was, the family had a C-scow from when they were not previously located from a prior case in September. And there was an involvement with law enforcement, and law enforcement contacted the department.
Okay. So there was a previous CPS case in September?
Yes, ma'am. September 13th.
Okay. And why did it become necessary to put them on the C-scow list?
From my understanding, the family was not able to be located.
Okay. And so the intake that you received October 13th, was that related to the C-scow, or was there another intake called in separately?
It was related to the C-scow, as well as there was a domestic violence dispute, and law enforcement was involved and contacted us.
Okay. There was a domestic violence dispute between whom?
Between Mr. Scott and Miss Aguilar.
Okay. And according to the intake, where did this incident take place?
At the Countryside Inn in Sealy, Texas.
Is that also where the family had been residing?
From my understanding, they have been residing there for about a month, reported by the mother.
Okay. And when did you first make contact with the family?
I made contact with the family on the 13th. I want to say
October?
I'm sorry, yes, October 13th, around, I want to say about 5:30 p.m. approximately.
Okay. And who was present when you made contact with the family?
The 3 children were present, as well as Miss Aguilar.
Okay. Was the father present?
No, ma'am. Law enforcement informed me that he was in jail at the time.
Okay. And do you know why he was in jail?
According to law enforcement, he was in jail due to domestic violence assaulting the mother, Miss Aguilar.
And what was the mother's condition when you made contact with her?
Mother appeared to be asleep. The neighbors outside pointed me to the direction of her room and stated that she had been working, so she was probably asleep. When I knocked on the door, she did answer. She appeared to be asleep. I did see some bruising and some scratches in her face area.
Did you talk to her about the bruises and the scratches?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what, if anything, did she tell you?
She stated that she did get in an altercation, but it was not, the bruising on her forehead was not from the current incident, but it was from a prior incident where she was knocked unconscious and had to have stitches.
Okay. The prior incident where she was knocked unconscious by who?
By Mr. Scott.
Okay, that's what she told you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did she make any statements regarding the current or the most recent incident?
She stated that there was that they did get into it, but she basically stated that the bruising and scrapes were from the last incident.
Did she say when the last incident was?
No, ma'am, she did not.
Okay. What was, you said the children were present on that day as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Describe the surroundings. Where were they located?
Okay. It's like I said, it's a countryside in Sealy. It is a motel. Mm-hmm. There were some people hanging outside, some children playing. They pointed me, as I stated, towards Miss Aguilar's door. When I did contact Miss Aguilar, she stated that her children were downstairs playing. I would say that it was not the best environment. It was, I would describe it as a little unsafe, a little, I don't know, a little, okay, I guess the best word would be for me.
A little what?
Seedy.
Okay. So before we get back, we'll get back to that. So when you knocked on the room door, the children were not present in the room.
There was one child in the room, Maurice, and the other two, Ms. Aguilar stated, I passed them on my way up to the room.
Okay. And how old is Maurice?
Maurice is 4.
4. Okay. And what was his condition when you saw him?
Maurice was clean and appropriate. He was outside. No, I'm sorry. Maurice he did not have on a shirt. He was inside sleep. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the other children. He was inside sleep. Miss Aguilar went in and woke him up. He came outside. I did not see any marks or bruises on him. He did come out. I believe he had on like some jogging pants with no shirt. Looked as if he had been sleeping at the time. Okay.
And did you have any type of conversation with Maurice at that time?
I did. He really did not want to talk to me. I asked him his name. He said Momo. And he kind of like shied away, like he didn't want to be bothered. Miss Aguilar attempted to assist him with speaking with me, encourage him to speak with me. And I told her that he did not have to be forced to speak with me, but I did need to take a photograph of him and observe him.
Okay. And do you know whether or not Maurice was present at the time of the incident that you were called on?
I am not 100% sure. Maurice did make a statement of daddy is in jail because he hit mommy, okay, which led me to believe that he was present at the time, or at least around the vicinity.
But nevertheless, he was aware of what had allegedly transpired.
Yes.
Okay. Did you speak to the other 2 children that day?
I did. I spoke with Aiden first. He was listed as the oldest victim on our intake. And so I did ask to speak with him first. I asked Mom where he was first. He came upstairs to speak with me. He was, didn't have any marks or bruises in my visible observation of him. I didn't see anything, that would have alarmed me to take a photo or, take a closer look when looking at him. He appeared to be appropriately dressed and clean. Of course, he looked as if he was playing outside, so it wasn't, spick and span, but he was clean. I did ask him his name. He wanted to also go back downstairs and play. He didn't really want to talk to me. He did tell me his name was Aiden. And then I did see Faith as well. Faith is a 3-year-old. She came upstairs. She was fussing, didn't want to come. She wanted to stay down and play. I did observe her. I didn't see any marks or bruises on her. She was clean and appropriately dressed for a child that was outside playing. She had on a sundress. Aiden, the 5-year-old, he also mentioned that daddy went to jail because he hit mommy. And
Did you, was that in response to you asking them a question, or did they volunteer that? Did he volunteer that information?
No, ma'am. They were talking with a neighbor. A neighbor was kind of assisting Miss Aguilar. She was talking to me and that she was trying to find placement for the children. I'm trying to make sure that it was a neighbor. It was either a neighbor or Miss Aguilar's father. They were all, present at the time. And Aiden stated that he wanted daddy, and believe whomever the person was, trying to comfort him. At this point, I want to say, just from my recollection, that it was Miss Aguilar's father. And they stated it was okay. And he said, it's not, daddy went to jail because he hit mommy.
Okay. So that's 2 of the children who have said this in your presence.
Yes, ma'am.
And Faith is only 3, correct?
Correct.
The one who did not make a disclosure.
Correct. She is verbal, but I did not hear her say anything about the incident.
Okay. What led to the department removing these children that day? Were there any other concerns outside of this domestic violence incident?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Aguilar admitted substance use. She admitted substance use of marijuana and methamphetamines.
Did she tell you that personally?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What exactly did she tell you?
She stated that she had smoked marijuana about a month ago. She also stated that she last smoked meth about, I believe it was a week ago.
A week ago from October 13th?
From the 13th when I was speaking with her.
Okay. Did she tell you how often she uses marijuana and methamphetamines?
She stated to me that she doesn't use marijuana very often. She stated that she uses methamphetamines about every 2 weeks approximately.
And did she tell you anything? Did she tell you anything else with regards to where she's using methamphetamine?
Yes, ma'am. As I was speaking to Miss Aguilar, I did ask her where, because she also informed me that she works at the motel. I'm sorry, and she's pointed around the corner in the back of the motel. Miss Aguilar's room is situated right almost on the corner. There's a wall, and then there's the stairwell that goes down, and she pointed down towards that. It is towards the back of the motel.
Okay, and she indicated that that is where she uses the methamphetamine? Yes,
ma'am, and she stated that she doesn't want anybody to see her, so that's where she goes.
Okay. And it's Miss Aguilar. Who all lives in the room where the family is residing?
To my knowledge, Miss Aguilar, Mr. Scott, and the 3 children.
They're all in like a one-room type situation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did she take a drug test for you that day?
Not that day. After the children were removed, we did ask Miss Aguilar to test for substances.
And did she do so?
She did.
Okay. And did the results match up with what she had told you with regards to her drug use?
The results matched up to methamphetamines and amphetamines.
Okay. Did you have any other concerns with regards to, outside of her using methamphetamines, the frequency and the location? Did you talk to her about anything else with regards to her drug use?
I did. I asked Ms. Aguilar where she kept the methamphetamines. She stated that there was no methamphetamines in the room at the time. However, when she did have it about 2 weeks ago, she stored it in the diaper bag and placed the diaper bag on top of a shelf within the room.
In her children's diaper bag?
In her children's diaper bag, where she also keeps the 3-year-old's medications.
Okay. Did that cause you any concern?
Yes, ma'am. That definitely caused me concern. The 3-year-old has had a liver transplant and takes medication daily as well as injections. And so that did cause me some concern for the methamphetamine to be stored in the same place as the medication, and even in the same room where the children are present.
Did you ask her, do you have any information on where the children are when she's outside using meth?
She stated that the children are with a friend in the room.
Do you know who this friend is?
She did not say a specific name of a friend. There were several people that came over while I was investigating. One is a landlord or a past landlord of Miss Aguilar's. Another, two people were friends. Another young lady who lived in the motel, they came over. Each one of them stated that they have assisted her with watching the children.
Okay, did any of them, were any of them aware of her methamphetamine use?
They did not state explicitly, but they did say things like, I've told you about that. I've told you, in regards to Mr. Scott, I've told you about him. I've told you about that type of behavior. I've been trying to help her. They stated things such as that, but they did not explicitly say that they were aware of the substance use. Okay.
And so at that time, Mr. Scott was incarcerated, correct?
Correct.
And did you believe that there was an immediate danger to the children in the care of their mother?
I did.
Okay. And so did the department make any type of reasonable efforts to prevent or eliminate the need to take these children into custody?
Yes, ma'am. We did check with each person that was present as well. There was
the friends that also live on the property. Is that
the friends that live on the property, the ex-landlord who came over to the property. There was another young lady who didn't live on the property, but she drove up. I believe they were calling each other. I can't say for sure. Miss Aguilar was trying to get in touch with people for placement. There was also a paternal aunt that also stays in the motel in a different room. We did go down to her room. We attempted to use her as a placement, but we could not. We contacted the paternal grandmother. We attempted to use her as a placement, and she, her criminal and child protective service history checked out. However, she was living with family members and did not have a place of her own. And at that time, she stated that she did not get approval to have the children come live in the home. We checked out Miss Aguilar's father and stepmother, I believe. We weren't able to place due to policy, as well as Miss Aguilar has a brother that lives out of state who contacted me via her father's phone and stated that he was willing to take the children, but he did live out of state.
Okay. So you've contacted multiple people for placement?
I did. Yes, ma'am.
And none of them were able to be approved?
No, ma'am.
And were the children placed in foster care at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
How are they doing in their current placement?
They seem to be doing well.
Okay. Any concerns whatsoever?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You mentioned that Faith had a liver transplant and she's on several medications.
I want to say about 3 medications that she has daily.
Okay. And is she getting those on time as she should in her current placement?
Yes, ma'am. And she was also taken to the doctor to make sure that her medications were correct and make sure that she was getting what she needed as well. I also, she was low on one of her medications, as well as one of the bottles did not have a label. And so I did pick up medication from Miss Aguilar and take it over to the foster placement where Faith was to ensure that she was continually getting her medications.
Okay. Do you believe that there is a continuing danger in Miss Aguilar's care at this time?
Yes,
if the children were to be returned to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that?
Due to the substance abuse, as well as the pattern of going back with Mr. Scott, the pattern of domestic violence that the department found as throughout the investigation.
Okay. And do you believe that it's in the children's best interest to remain in their current placement?
Yes, ma'am.
And for the department to be continued as temporary managing conservator?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Allen, do you have any questions for Ms. Williams?
Are the children placed together?
No, ma'am, they're currently not placed together. The 2 boys are placed together and Faith is placed in another home.
Okay, and how is she doing being torn from her brothers?
She seems to do well. Of course, she has mentioned to me that she misses her brothers, but as far as in overall, she seems to be doing well.
Okay. That's all. That's the only question I have.
All right. And Mr. Smith, do you have any questions? If you do, you can come up here and. you sit down so you'll be on the screen.
I just had one question about the children saying that Mr. Scott went to jail because he hit mommy. Is it possible that because Mr. Scott was previously in prison, the children only associate going to jail with hitting mommy?
It's possible.
No further questions.
And Ms. Wagner, any questions for Ms. Williams? Ms. Wagner, you're still muted, but do you have any questions? Ms. Wagner, you're still muted, but do you have any questions for Ms. Williams?
No, Your Honor, no questions. And I'm so sorry, I'm having some delays on my end.
Okay. All right. So any other questions for Ms. Williams from anybody?
I have no further questions for Ms. Williams.
Okay, Ms. Morgan, who's your next?
That is my last witness, and I will call CASA if Ms. Allen is not doesn't want to call them. I believe she mentioned calling CASA.
Okay, so Ms. Allen, who would you like to testify? And,
Awesome.
okay. You may proceed.
I visited with the kids, the boys, yesterday, and they're doing well at placement. They have each other. They're playing really well together. They're adorable. Placement just got word that the older Aiden can start school. I think tomorrow he starts, and she's working on Head Start for Maurice. So she's hoping that this week she can get him into Head Start. But they seem healthy. They seem well, considering everything that they've been through here recently. And I have not visited with Faith. I have not seen her. I talked to her foster mom, who reports that she's doing well, but that she needs clothes. She said she has no clothes for her and that she needs shoes. And Sarah let me know also that she's trying to work on getting her some clothes. We have some things here in the office, but it sounds like she has nothing.
And did either Aiden or Maurice make any type of disclosures to you with regards to what Ms. Williams testified to, domestic violence and or drug use?
They did not. The only thing the boys said to me is that their sister is still with their mom. And I let them know that their sister is not with their mom, that she is safe and that she's okay, but she's in another home. And no, they didn't say anything to me regarding what happened.
Okay. And hearing the testimony from Ms. Williams with regards to mom's methamphetamine use and storing the drugs in the children's diaper bag, does that cause you any concern?
Yes.
Okay. And would CASA recommend today that the children be returned to either parent?
No.
You believe that? Go ahead.
I feel like I spoke to mom, and I think mom has some great intentions and she needs education. I believe her motivation is there and that she loves her kids, but she does need some help. She needs some services, and the children need trauma-based therapy. They need some services as well.
Okay. So would it be your recommendation to the court that all three children remain in their current placements?
I would like to see the children together. I realize placement's difficult for just the medical part of Faith, but yes, other than that, if you can't find placement together, that the children remain where they're at.
Okay. And you believe that's in their best interest?
I do.
Okay. Thank you so much. No further questions for CASA.
So Mr. Smith, do you have any questions for CASA? No, okay. Ms. Wagner, do you have any questions for CASA? Deputy Kubrick, you run in the library and just see if Ms. Wagner's hearing us or not? Okay, so, and Ms. Wagner, do you have any questions for CASA? Maybe ask her if she could just come in here. Okay.
She had herself muted.
That's all right. But why don't you come up here and you can.
Oh, I have no questions for CASA.
Oh, no questions for CASA? Okay. All right, so anybody else have any questions for CASA? Okay, then Miss Allen, were you going to call your client?
Were you talking to me?
Yes, did you want to call your client?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to call Stephanie Aguilar. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Miss Aguilar, is Mr. Scott presently living with you?
Yes, ma'am.
He is living in your motel room. And what arrangements have you made? You say that you no longer want to.
Okay, wait, Miss Allen, we can't hear Miss Aguilar's response, so she either needs to speak up or get closer to the microphone.
Okay.
And we can only see half of her face.
Can you see her now?
You can see her now, but you need to start over with the first question.
Okay. Are you presently living with Mr. Scott?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you plan to continue living with him?
No, ma'am.
What kind of arrangements are you trying to make?
Trying to get my kids back.
Speak up. Speak
Trying
up.
to get my kids back.
Right. And if that involved splitting up with Mr. Scott, would you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
So they're important to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Speak up. Speak loudly. How long have you been using methamphetamine?
I started doing it like in June or July of this year.
Okay. Did you do it of your own free will?
No, ma'am.
Can you explain why you started doing methamphetamines?
Mr. Scott said that if I didn't,
You're gonna have to speak up.
Mr. Scott said if I didn't do it, I didn't love him, and I had to show him that I did love him. I guess, like that's when I started using it, and that's when I just kept using it after that. Since.
And how many times since June or July have you used methamphetamines? Use it daily? Weekly?
Like weekly.
Weekly?
Try to do like sometimes weekly, sometimes back to back.
Hey, we cannot hear what Miss Aguilar is saying. If you want us to hear your testimony, you have to speak up. If we can't hear you, then you can stop. So
I
Miss
usually
Allen, you can make the choice.
do it once a week or like back to back sometimes. When like I'm stressing out and stuff. And
speak up.
I'm stressing out because I have so many problems, and I've been through a lot with Spencer and stuff, and
Are you asking that the department help you?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that you can keep your children?
Yes, ma'am.
And you'd be willing to do services?
Yes, ma'am.
What hours do you work?
From 9 in the morning to like, depending on how many rooms I have in the hotel room.
Okay, till about when? Does it take you all morning? All day?
It usually doesn't take to like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, so from 9 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. If not, I can start early, depending on if there's any rooms that are checked out or anything.
All right. And how much do you make an hour?
$9 an hour.
Say it loud.
$9 an hour.
Okay, and what other compensation do you get? Do you get a free room?
No, they take the money out of my check for the room.
Okay, and how much is that?
That's like $350.
$350
Yes,
a day?
for every 2 weeks they take $250. So it's
$350,
Yes, ma'am.
not $3.50. Okay. So every 2 weeks they take out $350.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any other income besides?
I was getting face check. Face check.
Okay, we cannot hear what she's saying, so let's give some other people a chance to ask you a question, and then we'll come back to Miss Allen. But if you don't speak up, we can't hear you. So Miss Morgan, do you have any questions for Miss Aguilar?
I do, just very briefly. Miss Aguilar, does Mr. Scott, you said that you started using methamphetamine at the request of Mr. Scott, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Does he also use methamphetamine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you two use any other drugs other than methamphetamine?
No, ma'am.
How often do you and Mr. Scott use methamphetamine?
Like sometimes back to back, sometimes weekly, like depending.
Just depends on whenever you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where are your children at this time when you two are using methamphetamine?
They would be in the room.
With who?
With one of my friends, like the friends that were out there, or they'll be babysitting sometimes.
Are they ever in the room alone?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And what happened on that day, October 13th, when Mr. Scott went to jail?
Well, it was like around. It was like almost a week. I told him to get out, and I grabbed his stuff and I put it out, and then I didn't let him see the kids for like a couple of days, and then that's when he's saying he was gonna commit suicide and kill himself if I didn't let him see the kids and make him come back, and that's when he was saying that he was still gonna kill himself, and then so I got scared and I didn't want him to kill himself, so I let him back in. And he started arguing with the people that were in the room with me, and the girl screamed at him, and then he screamed at her, and then that's when she called the police and kept hanging up and calling back again to the police and hanging up, accusing him of hitting me, but he wasn't hitting me, he was talking to me. That was like around 3 in the morning that same on the 13th. And then I'm trying to remember. Sorry. He she kept calling, so the police came and they kept knocking really hard, and we didn't answer because he was still talking to me, and he hadn't put his hands on me yet. Just like 30 minutes after I went to work at 9 in the morning, that's when he started putting his hands on me and stuff.
So the following morning, so this was at like 3 o'clock in the morning, but nothing had happened physically at that point until like later on in the morning around 9.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you say he put his hands on you. What did he do?
He hit me, and then like when I fell on the floor, he stomped on my back.
And where were the children at that time?
They were in bed.
Okay. In the same room that you all were in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You're willing to work services with the department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if you have, I know they ran a couple of friends and family members to see if they could be a placement, but unfortunately, the department was not able to make a placement at that time. If you have any other family or friends that you can think of that could be a placement for your children, would you give that to the caseworker that's going to be assigned to your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Smith, do you have any questions for Ms. Aguilar?
Ms. Aguilar, you claim Mr. Scott lives with you. When did Mr. Scott move into the motel with you?
I can September or August? September. Yeah, September. Because it was like almost a month and a half since I've been at the hotel.
And has Mr. Scott ever had a separate room in the motel?
Yes.
Is this during the time y'all were living together?
Yes.
So why would he have a separate room if you were living together?
Because he was with another girl, and he would go with her downstairs so he can get away from me with arguing and stuff. And then after that, he'll come back after, like whenever she didn't have any more money or whenever she didn't want to pay the room anymore. He'll go upstairs and back to my room.
Does Mr. Scott ever stay in Belleville with his girlfriend?
Yes. But that's when I kicked him out.
And for what duration did you kick him out?
Because he was saying that I was in some situation with him and that girl. So whatever their situation was going on, I was in it too, but I never took a part of their situation. So I was trying to get my kids safe and not get like in trouble, or like if somebody comes up there and just shoots the room or something. I was just scared. So I was trying to protect my kids. I kicked both of them out. And that's when they rented a room downstairs for 2 days, and then they left to Belleville at her house.
Miss Aguilar, I'm asking for how long was he gone from the room?
For like a week. Then that week.
So he's moved back in with you a month and a half ago and leaves for a week and for days duration until he runs out of money. So
well, not him, the girl runs out of money.
For what percentage of the time does Mr. Scott live with you?
They just come and leave, like probably like a month. Yeah, he was there.
Ms. Aguilar, on the night of this incident, you said the cops had been called before he had ever put his hands on you. Could you please explain that?
Cause I wouldn't let him see the kids, so I guess he's the one that said that he did a welfare check, and the police officers came and they said that the kids were screaming, that somebody did a welfare check and the kids were screaming. He was the only one that I was on the phone that night, and he said the kids were screaming, but when the police came, the kids were asleep.
It was because Mr. Scott wasn't there at the time, and Mr. Scott called for a welfare check the day before?
Yes, sir, because he's the only one that I was on the phone with that night, and the kids were asleep. And there was no kids screaming or nothing. And then later that night, that's when he came and said that he was gonna come upstairs if I can let him in. He kept knocking and knocking, and then I told the girl, just let him in. And then that's when she started yelling at him, and he yelled at her. And then that's when she went downstairs and kept calling the police and hanging up, calling the police and hanging up. And that's when the police came and said that supposedly he was hitting me, but he wasn't hitting me. We were just talking.
Okay, so you deny that the day of the arrest, Mr. Scott hit you?
No, I'm saying he did hit me, and then he got an altercation with some other people about his wife, and they didn't even go to jail about it anyways, because they were trying to fight him and stuff. But he did hit me though that night, and he told me to get in the tub naked and just lay there and turn on the water. And because he said he was gonna get the gun and shoot me, but he never brought a gun out or anything, but he just kept saying that there was a gun.
No further questions.
All right, so, Ms. Allen, do you have any other questions for Ms. Aguilar? And you're still on mute, Ms. Allen.
Okay. Okay.
If you have questions for Ms. Aguilar, go ahead.
All right. But Mr. Scott is currently living in the motel with you?
No.
Well, you said earlier that you were living with him. Speak up, please.
Yes, ma'am.
And what did where, do you know where he is living?
Right now, he's in jail.
He's in jail right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you going to permit him to come back with you?
No, ma'am.
Even what if he begs?
No.
Have you seen any of your children since this incident?
This morning.
Speak up, please.
This morning.
And who did you see?
First one I saw was Faith coming in. And then after that, the boys came in, Aiden and Maurice.
Mm-hmm.
And we stayed in the room playing around, taking pictures, and it was time to leave. Faith started crying because she wanted to go with her brothers.
Okay. I have no further questions.
All right. And see, Miss Barte, are you going to get an order to me?
I have the order. I'm going to fill it in with the attorney's fees and next hearing date, and I will submit it to you via email.
All right. So when do you want to have the next hearing?
The next,
Go ahead, Ms. Barte.
I'm sorry, we were looking at December 15th, I believe it is the Austin County docket for December.
Okay. So put it for December 15th at 1:30.
Yes.
And so Miss Allen, how much time have you had?
About an hour.
And
Well, an hour and a half.
Okay, Mr. Smith, about Ms. Wagner?
4.5.
Okay, all right, so yeah, I'm gonna continue the department as the temporary managing conservators of the children, and we will come back in December.
Okay.
December 15th at 1:30.
Your Honor, are you going to continue us as ad litems?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge, do you want orders for that, or is your verbal?
I guess, which would the department feel more comfortable with?
I believe there's some language to that effect in our temporary order. I will make sure. I can add it if it is, and I'll put it in there that all appointments are continued. Okay. If it's not already in there. I think it's in there.
Okay. All right, so anything else on the Scott case?
Nothing further for me.
Good. All right, and you're all excused on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now.
Okay, so you're free to take Mr. Scott whenever you want to, and I think.
Yes, sure, I'm finished. I just wanted to apologize for the technical.
I
absolutely find it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, so next will be the Ash Darby case. We're just coordinating Mr. Scott, then we'll get going on that. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Before you let everybody go, are the December hearings going to be Zoom or regular?
Oh, yeah. What about, the December 15th hearing? Are we going to try to Zoom that one too?
That one should be okay for in person unless something changes for someone.
Yes. Yeah, as far as I know, it should be in person as well.
So will we have Callie Morgan on that one, or is she going to be already wearing a black robe?
I can't say what I want, what I wish and hope, but I don't know. We'll see.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Okay.
Either
So,
way,
all right. So on Ash Darby,
I'm here.
yeah, before we get on the record, I know Miss Morgan is here for the department.
And along with caseworker Shalonda Jackson.
And Miss Baker, who are you here for?
I'm here for Nancy Hobbs. I was appointed as her ad item.
And Mr. Smith. Look in the file to see who was appointed for the children. Maybe Miss Allen. Let's see.
It is Miss Allen.
Okay, I see she's back on. Let me see if I can get her back on. All right, so is there anybody other than the caseworker that's going to testify in the Darby case?
Maybe CASA, caseworker in CASA.
All right, so I get
I'm sorry, so Nancy Hobbs is here, and I believe she's here. I see her with her, I believe her sister, who I know they want to consider as a placement, so I will be talking to her as well.
All right, so if I can get CASA, caseworker, and Miss Hobbs to each raise your right hands. 1, 2, 3. Do you and each of you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir. I do.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Morgan, you may proceed.
Okay, I would like to call caseworker Shalonda Jackson. Shalonda, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Jackson, you're the caseworker assigned to the case involving the child Ash Russell Darby, correct?
Correct.
How old is Ash?
16.
Okay. And Ms. Jackson, you are a family-based safety services caseworker?
That is correct.
So this case is currently in FCSS. Where is Ash placed?
Currently, he's with a friend of Miss Hobbs.
What type of placement is he in?
PCSP.
Go ahead. So he's in a parental child safety placement with a friend of the mother's?
Yes.
Okay. How long has he been in that placement?
Since June 25th of 2020.
And do you know why it became necessary to put Ash in a PCSP?
Because Miss Hobbs tested positive.
For what?
Methamphetamine. And let me get the exact drug. I don't see it. I didn't.
But it was at least methamphetamine.
Yes, ma'am, for sure.
Okay. And was that during a previous investigation that had come in around June of 2020?
That is correct.
Okay. Does Ash have any special needs?
Yes, he does.
Okay. What special needs does he have?
He has Down syndrome and autistic.
Okay. And how is he hindered, or is he hindered in any way by his special needs?
He wears diapers.
Okay.
And
is he verbal?
No.
Okay. So he's nonverbal and he currently wears diapers?
That is correct.
Who was caring for him at the time that CPS first became involved during the investigation, if you know?
I believe it was his mother.
Okay. So, but nevertheless, the department concluded, do you know the outcome of the investigation?
It was ruled as reason to believe.
Okay, for what?
Due to neglect for supervision.
By the mother?
That is correct.
Okay, so then approximately June 25th, he was placed into this PCSP?
Yes.
And is that when you were assigned to the case?
Yes.
Okay, and so what has been going on with mom since you've had the case?
I have not, I just recently was able to make contact with mom in the month of October. Mom have not been cooperative with the department.
Since June, she has not been cooperative?
That is correct.
Have you tried to contact her since June?
Yes.
How often have you tried to contact her?
I've made several attempts via phone call, text, and visitation to the home on a weekly basis.
So approximately every week since June, you've reached out to her some way?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you ever received a response?
No, ma'am, not until October.
So just recently prior to this hearing?
That is correct.
Did you call her? Or did she call you?
She called me.
Okay, so she knew your phone number?
Yes.
Okay. Where is the child's father?
He's currently incarcerated.
Okay. Has he been incarcerated throughout the entire case that you are aware of?
Yes.
Okay. How is Ash doing in his current placement?
He's doing well.
Okay. Are they meeting all of his needs?
Yes, they are. They're meeting them.
You hesitated.
They just need assistance. I mean, they're doing it out of pocket for themselves.
So they're financially supporting Ash on their own?
That is correct.
Okay. Why is the department requesting conservatorship of Ash today if he's doing well in his placement?
Originally, Mr. Gary Elliott stated that he
is that the placement?
That is correct. The placement.
Okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Stated that he cannot keep Ash long term.
Okay. So he's taking care of him, financially supporting him, but he just can't do it much longer.
That is correct.
Okay. Did you reach out to the mother when Mr. Elliott indicated that he could no longer support Ash or take care of Ash?
Yes.
And you didn't get a response from her, correct?
I did not.
Okay. Did the placement agree to allow Ash to remain at his home until we had an opportunity to come to court today?
That is correct.
Okay, but our time has run out, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Are you asking that the court appoint the department as temporary managing conservator of Ash?
That is correct, yes.
And then what will the next steps be with regards to placement? Are you going to look for a separate placement?
We're trying to get him into a HCS home.
Okay. And what is the status of that?
We first will need TMC.
Okay. So we have to get custody first before you can move forward with that.
That is correct.
Okay. When the mother contacted you, what did she say about Ash's current situation?
She asked me, was there anything she could do to stop the process of the removal and work the services?
Okay. Do you know where she's living?
With her mother.
Do you know how long she's been living there?
From my knowledge, throughout the duration of this case, approximately, and even prior, about 3 years.
Okay. But since the case came in May, mom has not engaged in any services, correct?
That is correct.
Despite the department's attempts to engage her in services?
That is correct.
Would you be comfortable with Ash returning to her care today?
No.
Okay. What do you believe that she needs to do? as far as, will you be developing the service plan, or I guess it'll transfer to conservatorship after today?
That is correct. It'll transfer.
Okay. And you believe that the department getting TMC and putting Ash in an HCS home is in its best interest at this time?
That is correct.
Okay, I'll pass the witness. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, do you have any questions for Ms. Jackson?
Just as it is, Ash going to need lifetime care.
The question for Ms. Jackson is whether or not Ash will need lifetime care.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Baker, do you have any questions for Ms. Jackson?
Yes, Ms. Jackson, are you considering a placement with her sister Kelly Hobbs?
Did she ever give you that name? She just recently. I have, Mr. Gary is willing with the assistance to keep him. No, I have not, no.
Okay. And are you willing to, so Gary, Mr. Elliott is a non-relative placement who's indicated that he doesn't want to see, he can't handle this long-term according to my review of the report, correct?
Correct.
And when y'all were first trying to locate her, you believe she lived in a home behind Smokies, according to the report. Is that correct?
I believe she lived with her mother. I've made contact with her mother.
Okay. And so when did you first make contact with her mother?
I've been going out to the home of her mother since the duration of the case.
And what is her mother's name?
I have to look at my records. I don't know off the top of my head.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Dorothy Cootie.
And you talked to Dorothy Cootie about possible placement?
I have not spoken with Dorothy Cootie.
Okay. And so, or have you spoken with Kelly Hobbs?
No.
And is it typically procedure of the department when possible to try to find a family placement?
Yes.
Okay. And so based on that policy and procedure, would it be fair to expect you to do a home study of Kelly Hobbs and find out if that's an appropriate placement for Ash?
Mom, I'm sorry, repeat that.
Would we expect, based on the proper protocol of your department, that you look at Kelly Hobbs as a placement for Ash, since she is a family member?
Yes.
And when would you do that?
Mom opted to have the child with the current placement when she became involved with the case.
Well, I understand you just made contact with Mom.
That was during the investigation stage. Mom opted to place the child where he is now.
Okay, so my question is, now that we're here and now that Kelly Hobbs has been identified as a preferred placement, are you going to look at go through the steps to place Ash with Kelly Hobbs?
Yes.
And when will that happen?
When we are granted TMC.
Okay, and so if that happened, that would happen today if the judge rules, correct?
Correct.
And so after today, when will you start the process of evaluating Kelly Hobbs for placement?
Repeat it, I'm sorry.
So assuming the order is signed today, naming you TMC, when will you begin the process of researching Kelly Hobbs as a proper placement for Ash?
Once Mom fills out the caregiver resource form.
Okay, and when has she been provided that form?
We haven't got there yet.
Okay, So my question, so how long will it take her to get to the form?
She could get it today if we meet today.
Okay, so if we meet if she meets with you today and completes that form, how long will it take for you to approve Kelly Hobbs for the placement of Ash, assuming there are no issues?
It could be by the end of the day. It's gonna, I mean, I will have to call and make arrangements with her to go out to her home and assess the home.
Okay, so they're both here today and I'll be able to ask them questions about their availability to meet with you. Assuming are you available today to look at the home and to complete the paperwork? If they are.
No.
When will your next availability be?
I will have to look at my schedule.
Can you do that?
Judge?
Yes, Ms. Partey.
Miss Lee said she got knocked off the hearing. Deborah Lee, could y'all let her back in?
I Can I speak now?
Yes, please.
Okay. I can call I could talk with make arrangement with them today for sometime next week.
So you can meet with them today to schedule an appointment for next week.
That is correct.
Okay. Now, is the primary basis for the removal, Nancy Hobbs, relapse?
No.
What is the basis for the removal other than her using drugs?
The caregiver could no longer willing to keep the child long-term and her non-cooperation with the department.
No, for the removal in the first place to the caregiver, to Gary Elliott.
Well, Your Honor, I'm going to object to the characterization of the placement as a removal. The department did not conduct a removal of Ash. He was just in a voluntary placement.
Okay.
Just rephrase your question. Ms.
Okay. So was the basis for the request for the voluntary placement her drug use?
Yes.
Okay. Were there any other concerns other than her drug use?
I don't know. I was not the investigator.
Okay. And so as part of the services, is the idea for her to become clean and sober and provide stable housing? Would those be the primary expectations to return Ash to her care?
You cut out. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Are the primary concerns of the department for parental reunification? Would that be her not to use drugs, to become clean and sober, and to have stable housing?
Some, yes.
What other issues would you anticipate?
That would be the conservative caseworkers.
And who is that?
It will be Deborah Lee when it transfers.
And is she on this hearing?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Allen, do you have any questions for Ms. Jackson?
Yes, I do. Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Do you think it would be more appropriate for Ash to be placed in a home that was trained in special needs children?
Yes.
rather than the one you're now considering?
What do you mean?
Well, has she been trained in, the person you're considering now, has she been trained in special needs children and how to care for them?
Yes.
She has?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
All right, any other questions for Ms. Jackson?
I do. When Miss Allen asked you if the person you're considering has been trained in special needs, is that her sister Kelly Hobbs?
No.
Okay. Do you have any idea what abilities or capabilities Miss Hobbs has to address his special needs?
No. No. I wasn't
Okay.
talking about her.
Okay. Who were you referring to?
Currently where the child is placed with Mr. Gary.
So I see in Mr. In Mr. Elliott's notes, he refers to Lori Jackson. Is that who you're referring to?
I don't know a Lori Jackson.
Okay, but the proper procedure of the department is to rule out family relative placements before considering any other placement, correct?
Along with the best interest for the child.
Okay. And so you're going to, and it's presumptively in the family code in the best interest of the child to be placed with family. Isn't that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And you're going to hopefully look at Kelly Hobbs as a placement, her sister, correct?
We can, yes.
Okay. And that's a family member who's known Ash his entire life.
I mean, I don't know that.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness.
Okay, any other questions?
I just have a quick follow-up, Your Honor, if I may, with Ms. Jackson.
You may.
Ms. Jackson, at this point, now that the department is requesting TMC, do you need a full home study on anyone who's to be considered as a placement?
Yes.
Okay. And just to clarify, that is not something, a full home study cannot be conducted in 2 or 3 days, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I just wanted to clarify, once you meet with Ms. Hobbs and whoever else mother indicates on her caregiver resource form, then you have to go through the channels of processing that person for a home study.
Correct.
How long does it take to conduct a home study, approximately, if you know?
I don't know the time frame.
Okay, but I just wanted it to be clear that this is not anything that's going to happen immediately.
No.
Okay. And when is today your first time getting this information with regards to Ms. Hobbs, or were you previously given this name?
Ms. Hobbs giving me the name as a collateral, not as a placement.
Okay, so this is the first time that you've heard her name as a placement?
Yes.
Okay, and so you will take steps to initiate the process of a home study on Ms. Hobbs and Ms. Cootie?
Yes.
Or just Ms. Hobbs?
Whatever name she lists on the caregiver resource form.
Okay. Okay, I'll pass the witness. Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
All right, and so Ms. Morgan, any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, nothing further from me.
And Mr. Smith, did you want to call any witnesses? Ms. Baker?
To call witnesses or to ask a question?
Well, I guess whichever one you'd want. If you have a witness.
Yes, I'd like to call Kelly Hobbs.
Okay, you may proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you Kelly Hobbs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you're a sister to Nancy Hobbs, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, where do you reside? Where do you
In
live?
Belleville. In Belleville.
Okay, do you own your own home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who lives in your home with you?
My son and my daughter.
Okay, and do you have a criminal history?
No.
Okay. And what do you do for a living?
Massage therapist.
Okay. And how long have you had a close relationship with Ash his entire life?
Yes.
And do you have any experience meeting Ash's special needs?
Yes.
Okay. And are you asking the department to consider you as a placement for Ash?
Yes.
Okay. And would you take as a placement, you do understand that your sister Nancy is here allegations of neglectful care of Ash. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that there's concerns about her her relapsing and her recent drug use?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And would you be in a position to take steps to ensure that she's not left unsupervised in any manner with Ash?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And would you be willing to be in continuous contact with the department and be responsive to any of their requests for any information, and make sure his medical needs are taken care of?
Of course.
Okay. And what's your work schedule like?
My schedule is flexible. I can choose my own work schedule.
Okay. And does Ash go to school prior to this? Was he going to school?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know where he's going to school?
Yes, Belleville High School. He
Okay.
actually has a class with my son.
Okay. And so have you ever been involved with getting him to school and helping with his transportation and care?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Morgan, any questions for Ms. Hobbs?
No questions, Your Honor.
And Mr. Smith? And Ms. Allen?
No questions.
All right, so anybody else? We hear from CASA. Is CASA still on?
I have a concern that I'd like to express as ad litem for the child.
Let me just find, is CASA with us anymore? I don't see them.
I don't want.
I am, Your Honor, Chelsea Bowie, CASA supervisor on this case.
All right. Do you have anything that you want to add on CASA's behalf?
I don't. I mean, I did see Ash. I've only spoken to Ash and the current caregiver. So I can only state that he looks currently clean, healthy, and well taken care of where he is. That's all.
Okay, thank you. So Ms. Allen, what would you have to say?
I have concerns about the length of time this process of the home study is going to take and want to know what the department would do if Mr. Elliott decides that he doesn't want the child in his home anymore.
Ms. Jackson, can you answer that?
They have agreed to keep the child until a placement is found.
Okay.
Anything else, Ms. Allen?
No, that's all.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator of the child. And so Ms. Hobbs, if you'll get with Ms. Jackson, I guess Ms. Hobbs, where are you now? What town are you in?
I'm in Belleville.
Okay, and then Ms. Jackson, where are you now?
I'm in Belleville at the office.
Okay, so Ms. Hobbs, you know where the office is?
I can go by there right now.
Okay, so you head over that way and get that form. And do we want to come back on December 15th on this one also?
Yes.
What day?
Yes.
December 15th at 1:30.
Correct, at 1:30. All right, and Mr. Smith, how much time have you had on this? And Ms. Baker? How much-
2 hours.
You said 2?
Yes.
And Ms. Allen?
2 hours.
All right, so then I guess Miss Morgan, you'll get me that order also?
Yes, I will send them just as soon as we conclude.
Okay, all right. All right. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
I don't want to log out. I don't like going on the phone.
Then you should
I
have gone
need.
to the.
I can't get my computer
You
won't
should have
work.
gone to the courthouse.
Are we done?
Just leave it running, Judge.
Yeah.
That'll be my thing.
All right, thank you.
I did like that other one though, as well, but I like that dark contrast.
Well, that's on,
Yeah.
I like the color.
But obviously I like them enough, I bought 3 of these suckers.
Sharon, from Human Resources, wanted the other one.
Cool.
Let me see if I can.
I was about to scream up and say, tell that mama to shut the hell up.
Let me mute first.